2, 1.
Are we good?
You're on.
Are we there? We're on.
Hi.
Good morning, guys.
Hello.
I'm Kevin with Springfield Leather. These are two people that you see all the time. Liz, Denny. So we're going to do a video entitled How to Be a Hero. This is something that I did a long time ago, but it was back when all I had was a camera that wasn't very good, and it was handheld, and it was all fuzzy, and it didn't come out worth a darn. But it really got a lot of good response. And so we're going to do it again, and this time we're going to do it better. So I've been teaching people how to do leather work officially since 1976. And almost all those people that I was involved in teaching were kids. And anywhere from, and I'm serious, kindergarten up to high school, even some college level, but the vast majority were in the junior high range, around in there, give or take a little. Now, given that I was teaching these things, it was basically in schools where I would go do leathercraft demonstrations for 4 or 5 class periods, same thing over and over again. I got really good at it. Or camp situations. I will tell you, there are 2 groups of people involved in this that are the most susceptible to frustration in the whole world. And that is camp activity directors and school teachers. The reason for that is a camp activity director is usually 17 years old, 18 years old, and they find out they've got to teach a group of 35 screaming 12-year-olds how to do leather work on a coaster, punch a hole in it, and wear it for the next 7 days so they can be identified.
Yeah, that sounds slightly frustrating.
They have no clue. No clue whatsoever. And guess what? That's the only year they're going to do it. Next year, it's somebody else. With a school teacher, well, back in the day, there was industrial arts. Industrial arts used to include leathercraft for a lot of the schools. And the teacher had to teach leathercraft, and the only thing he knew was what Tandy used to teach him, how to tool a round coaster. That was it. Well, get a hold of this. You got 20 12 to 13-year-olds in a room trying to Western floral carve a round coaster. Well, and if you've never been in a room with 20 kids pounding on leather tools, and they weren't pounding on granite, they were pounding on a board.
Their little wooden desk.
Oh, it sounded like a herd of crazy woodpeckers. It was, I don't see how those people survive. Teachers should get more money. So anyway, over the course of years, I figured out that I wanted to be able to teach these kids how to do leather work in such a way that they could be successful. And back then, they didn't have the YouTube tutorials and the online help and all that. So I decided I wanted to make the teachers look like a hero. The camp activity directors look like a hero. And it wasn't all that hard. I figured out how to do it. Basically, what you need is a few simple little products. You need some highlighter, maybe some Easy Glow or Goof Proof, something similar. And you need some finish of some sort. And a little bit of dye if you wish. Now, I'm starting out with kind of, sort of clean hands. Kind of. They're pretty much. I've been working this morning. I'm going to end up with kind of, sort of clean hands. So just imagine that you're in a classroom, or you're instructing a classroom of 20 to 25, 10, 12, 14-year-olds working with these materials, and you inject some Fiebing's regular dye into the mix. Oh, my Lord.
Even with gloves on, you can get that on your fingers.
Yep. So anyway, you need water. You need a few stamping tools. An alphabet set is kind of handy. And the goal is we want to make whoever you're teaching, and the goal should be for you to teach a kid. Now, for all the rest of you that are watching, you might pick up a few tips and hints here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be mental principles. Can you handle that?
It is Friday.
All right. So the goal is, number 1, be successful. Number 2, have fun. Number 3 is to make money, if at all possible, with your leatherwork. So we're going to show you how to do that. We're going to make a whole bunch of stuff. There's only 3 things that, as an instructor or a teacher, that you have to know in order to help a kid be successful and for him to see you as a hero. He's actually going to think you know what you're doing, even if you don't. You need a granite working surface. You need proper moisture content if you're going to stamp on leather. That's 2. The third one is, if you use it, you need to have a sharp swivel knife. That's it. If you can remember those 3 things, you are halfway home. It's just pretty simple. So, first of all, we mentioned doing leather work for fun. Well, that's a no-brainer. Have fun. Do what you want. Stamp things like crazy. I remember my little girl when she was little. That's Lindsay. She works here. When she was 3 years old, she sat at the coffee table with a stamp grabbed in her fist. Pound, 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 pound. Oh, she just stamped up a piece of leather like crazy. And she'd get tired of one tool and use another one. But it was fun. Have fun.
Actually, our video like 2 weeks ago, whenever we did like the little geometric stamping, that's kind of a good entry point for a kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the other thing is to make money. Now, there's a difference. And I'm going to stop talking in a minute. But for fun, you can do whatever you want. For money, you have to be conscious of a few things. You got to have the right products. You got to know what you want to make. You got to be conscious of your time, the finished appearance, and that kind of stuff. You guys, you know all that. But here's a principle that most people overlook. It's called the KISS principle. That means, it's an abbreviation. Keep it simple, stupid. When I was teaching the kids, I always had to say, keep it simple, silly. The teacher didn't want me calling it kids.
Wasn't politically correct.
So we're going to make coasters, key fobs, belts, and wallets. Really, really easy. We're going to start off with the simplest thing of all. And let's see, in order to do that, I need a sponge. Now, here's a secret. I go to Dollar General or Dollar Tree or one of them other dollar places, and I buy a little package of those sponges that are cheap, and then I cut them up. It's a pretty nice way to do it. I have a very strange shaped piece of scrap leather. Water. And when I told the kids to get it wet, I said, just don't run it under the sink. Don't dip it in the sink. You don't have to wet the backside. Just get the top really good and wet. Okay. We'll do 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, it's exciting.
Getting
1,
fancy.
2. Now, when you think of a coaster, you probably don't just think of a weirdly shaped piece of leather like this. Normally,
As long as you can put your cup on it.
if you're...
Perfect.
It works. That's nice. So, okay. So I got a hefty handle, couple of alphabet stamps. Let's see. And I used to let the kids do this. This was so nice because I tell the kids, grab that thing with your fist and hit it. Well, they don't want to do that. So I would grab it with my fist. I'd give them the hammer. I ain't going to give it to you.
You're trusty.
I was. But you know what? When they saw me hold that tool down and they were going to have that hammer, I never got hit I got hit once, but it wasn't very bad. In all my years, I got hit one time, and I taught like a zillion classes, and I didn't get hit very bad. So here we are, making sure all the letters are happily right side up. Oh my gosh, I didn't hardly get it centered very good. And guess what?
See, Hero would never tell anyone that.
Well, I did. I said you had to make the kids think you're a hero. So I told them, isn't that terrible? Well, no, it's not. Okay, next tool. I have a Z609 and a Z610, and everybody, of course, knows that those are star stamps. You have to place them extremely carefully, as you can see.
Look, you don't even have to turn it. It's just vertical.
Okay, do we want to put this on a front screen so they can see? Can't see. Never mind. Look at it from the top.
Where are we? There we are.
Okay, there we are. Dad. Now, bear with me here. Here comes the interesting part. Well, you know, on this one, we're not going to be so...
We're going to switch it up.
Oh boy, this is going to be amazing. You're going to...
There's a leaping deer.
We have a leaping... Can they see that? Can I?
Yeah. It's a little upside down, but it's fine.
All right, well... Whoever
Quite a
does the
bit
camera
upside
stuff,
down.
you can do this.
There we go.
It's a leaping deer. And my goodness, you know, remember, you got 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds, one for each stamp. And then you got again, you got to be extremely careful here, because if this isn't perfect, oh my, whatever will we do? And
The sarcasm is heavy with this one.
You'll see the principle here in a minute. Okay, we need Phoebing's
What do you need?
chocolate leather dye right here.
Okay.
Now this will work with any kind of dye. Phoebing's chocolate dye. I'm going to put a little bit on this sponge. Not very much. I'm just going to soak a little bit onto there, set it down on some cardboard, and then you'd be smart. If you're using this kind of dye, you might want to put on a rubber glove or something, but I'm kind of lazy when it comes to it. So I'm just going to put a little sponge on
Use
top.
another sponge.
Wipe all the excess dye off of there. And then I'm going to do this. Can you see what I'm doing? Can
Yes.
everybody?
We're good.
Okay.
Looks like a little bit of a burst situation.
Yeah, we're putting some dye on the edge of this thing. And we're just going to go around. And you can put as much as you want on there. If you want, you can wipe it over the whole thing. This one for Dad. We'll put some more on there. I'm trying to keep it off my fingers as much as possible because I want to make a point later. Oh, got some on the D.
Oh, he was a little close to the
All
edge.
right, can anybody see what we have so far?
Oh, this way.
You've been going to that one every time, so I switched it over to there.
So what do you want me to do?
You do what you
There.
want. There you go.
Oh, other way. Oh, there. There.
Okay, we got Dad and a deer.
We have so many cameras, guys.
Yeah. Now, this product is called Easy Glow. Years ago, there was a product called Leather Glow, and it was one of the best kept secrets in the leather world as far as I was concerned. And Easy Glow has taken its place. It's actually Leather Glow. The company that made it, when it was discontinued by another company, the actual manufacturer of the product agreed to make it for us under this new and so clever name, Easy Glow.
What's happening?
I just poured a bunch right
You
there.
just poured it on there.
And I poured some more. Look at that, I missed. I poured some more on that one.
Kids are going to love that.
This is terrible. We've got a huge, huge mess. Oh, gosh. Huh. Well, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to smear this stuff around. And I'm going to get it down into all the letters and all the happy little stars. Oh, it's been sitting on here. I hope that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna smear it around, and
This looks pretty kid friendly.
this is kid fun.
Yeah.
Is that water soluble? Can you wash it off with soap and water?
Well,
I mean, within a lifetime?
very good, Denny. Let's find out. Water, fingers,
Clean. That amazes me.
paper towel, please. Yeah,
Those fingers look pretty clean.
they are clean. The kids aren't going to screw it up. And the nice thing about it, when you're getting into this, you take a clean sponge, preferably, and you start wiping it off. The nice thing about it is that you can wipe off as much as you want or as little as you want. So, you know how kids are. They're perfectionists. They're going to think, oh, it could be, I wish I would have got it darker, or I wish I would have got it lighter. Do it again. Just do it again. It's that simple. Pour some more on there. Wipe it around. Wipe it off. You don't like that? Do it again. It's okay. And some people would ask me, well, what about, can you put dye on over that? Sure, you can do anything you want. It's not going to come out exactly like what you might want, but at least you'll learn what it does. So we're wiping it off, turning the sponge over to use the clean surface as much as possible. And I'm just going to call that good.
Hey, Kevin, around the edge, can you go back whatever you went on the edge of it again? Easy Glow was in the middle. What was on the edge?
The edge was Phoebe's chocolate dye.
Okay.
But you can use any color you want.
Yeah.
You can use tan. You can use dark brown, green, purple, pink,
Just
red.
regular old Phoebe's dye.
Yeah, and any other kind of dye works just as well. The new Finichi stuff works really, really good for this. And now here's the deal. When you're thinking about making money, an airbrush is a really good thing to own. Okay? So, get to where they can see these pictures, if you would. Where do I need to go?
You stay right there.
Okay. I'm here. I
Hang
ain't
tight.
going anywhere.
Just stay in your chair.
There it is.
Now, get this. Little Johnny comes home from school. Dad, look what I made for your office desk. Now, what's that do for Dad? You know, he's going to break down in tears. But if you would have wrote Mom on this one, Mom, I made this for you. Well, Mom's going to get all blubbery, and it's like a kid going outside and finding a stick and saying, Mom, I got this for you. It's a present. You know? And what's Mom or Dad gonna do? They're going to say, wow, you did that? Great job. That's if Mom has half a brain and Dad has half a brain. And that kid, you know what he gets at that point? He gets something really valuable that you can't buy. And that is self-esteem. And kids today find self-esteem in very short supply. Leatherwork can help for that. Buy all your stuff from Springfield Leather. See? It's not the purpose of this, but I'm sure you see what I mean. Okay, so now, here comes the trick. You should wait till it's dry. I don't know, can you see where I threw those, Tony?
Probably not.
No.
All right, well, in that
Put
case,
it back on your granite.
Here we go.
Put it
There we
in,
go.
I can see it.
we're gonna make a mess. No, I
Nope.
want the masters.
Oh, the masters. Are you sure you don't want this? Under?
Okay,
Just before you spray. See?
right.
I knew what I was doing. There it is.
first time for everything. Masters Quick Shine. Oh, it smells so amazing.
Did you miss that? Did you miss that smell?
I don't know. You maybe noticed This stuff wasn't even entirely dry, but it's good enough. It works. And that's the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Now, given these two coasters are what they are, we could quite easily have made them nicer if we would have used a round coaster and we were a little more careful around the edge. Yeah, we could have did that, but I didn't.
When you put your dye around the outside, Kevin, that chocolate, Phoebe's dye, was your sponge just a little bit damp or was it dry?
Take your pick. And that's a really nice thing, because this is pretty much a goof-proof operation. It is extremely goof-proof when you wear rubber gloves. But my fingers are still pretty good.
The sponge itself, is a sponge damp?
Yeah,
Yes.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I would prefer it to be dry, but when I took these out of the package, they were wet, so I didn't care. It works. Picture a key fob. Well, let's just okay, water, proper moisture content.
And why are you getting the little turn back wet even though you're not going to stamp there?
Denny can tell you.
Because if you don't, it will leave a water spot.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Mom will be upset.
That's exactly right.
When you finish those other ones, Kevin, would Mop and Glow work for that?
Yeah.
We're on a
man,
mop and glow roll.
We have. The last 4 or 5 videos, I think we've talked about Mop and Glow every single one.
It's
I
just
don't
nice
like it.
because this is already just in a spray container, so you don't have to wipe anything on.
You can put anything you want on here. You can put bacon grease on there. It's not going to matter.
Hey, I told someone that one time, and they used
did
it
it?
on their saddle, and I didn't hear the end of it for 3 months.
No kidding. I hope they didn't have dogs.
The dogs are chasing them around on the saddle.
The horse just constantly trying to get back there and lick the saddle.
You know, the Mop and Glow thing, hey, you can use it if you want. It's floor wax. Like I said, you can put anything on there. I don't like Mop and Glow because it's too sticky. It's too subject to humidity. I just would rather not use that. And like you said, buy it in a spray can.
It's just easier.
It's much simpler. Here, we're going to stamp. Oops. Well, I shouldn't say oops. We're going to stamp.
There's no oops in leatherwork. You just made something fancier.
That's right.
Perfect.
There. We have a letter M on our happy little key fob. And we're going to pick our wonderful tools and very carefully position them all around the letter, because if they're not exactly perfect, it's not going to be good. M for mom. Okay. Then if you want, you can even get crazier, put a border around it or something. I'm not going to bother right now. Let's see. Let us try to be sort of creative here. Denny, isn't there a belt strip down there that has some eagles on it? I'm going to take a little bit of Angela's finish, and I'm going to take this big brush, and I'm going to paint my letter M. And it's nice if you're sort of a little careful.
Sort of a little.
Well,
That's a good explanation.
You can have the 11-year-old careful or the 13-year-old careful.
That's the nice thing about this, because it really doesn't matter very much how careful you are. Now, if you're doing this for money, the more careful you are, the better things will be in the long run. But I figured as long as we're doing this, I'm going to...
You paint your little eagle face there?
Yeah, and I just love painting eagle faces. Actually, I think
We're resisting an eagle face.
using RTC is probably a little bit better as a resist rather than this Angelus, although Angelus works quite well.
And basically any sort of a clear coat
Yeah, it does it.
will work.
And so I've just painted the happy little eagle head, and I'll paint the one right next to it just so that it's semi-symmetrical. Is that a word?
It is.
That's just the Angelus acrylic finisher.
Yeah.
I think it says number 600 or something on there.
And I'm not even being horribly careful here.
Marcus said you made a key fob for him.
I did?
Yeah, it's got an M on it.
Oh.
Tell him the stars cost extra.
We'll send a bill. Okay.
If I remember right, he's from Germany or overseas somewhere. I believe that's correct.
Now we're going to rinse out the brush. If you don't rinse out the brush, then it's going to get all hard and stiff and be icky, and you could use it for a nail, and that's not good. So the one thing that's smart is to put the lid back on your stuff when you're done. I don't think that really needs a lot of explanation. Okay, so back to our happy little key fob. Doggone.
You need a little bit more dye?
No, I forgot my sponge.
Oh. Ooh, that finger's going to get dirty.
Could have used a piece of paper, I guess. But I'm going to dye the edge. Now, today, key fobs probably aren't going to be your main source of revenue from your leather craft. But if you have a kid, even a neighbor kid, a child, and you can help them do this, even if they don't do a very good job, it's going to come out lovely. Now you can also, by the way, I had a dauber laying around here. Let's go off the charts here. I hate daubers. Don't like them at all. I'm going to dip this in my chocolate brown dye.
We had a question, Kevin.
Ooh, there's so much on there.
Yep, there's a lot on there.
Say if we wanted to make the stars a color and the M a different color,
Go right ahead.
would we paint them with the acrylic paint first and then resist over the top of them?
Sure can. Yes, you can.
And then you could put your Easy Glow or dye on top of it?
Yeah.
If you want your stars to be a color, you need to paint your stars that color and not put the resist on first.
Right. Paint.
Okay.
Say you wanted them to be white and you want the M to be blue. You paint your stars white, you paint your M blue, and then you'd resist over the top of them.
Yeah.
Now, again, what we're doing is demonstrating a principle. Actually, two. I use a dauber to put this dark edge on this belt, and if you can see it, you can see places where I went where I didn't really want to go. But the next step really pretty much kind of sort of takes care of that. So we're going to use our, I think we're going to use my other favorite product.
What's that?
Highlighter. Wait
Highlighter.
a minute. Wait. Grab that great big huge honking bottle over there.
Oh, it's got a squirt top on it.
Yeah, I know. This is one that I got out of the shop. It's ugly and nasty, and it's
Probably been around for years.
full of highlighter. We keep refilling it. So I just squirted a bunch, some, into this paper bowl. Now I'm going to get my fingers a little bit messier. Not much. They're still pretty clean, by the way. Highlighter does not come off as easy as Easy Glow, but it does come off, especially with hot water. So I'm going to take my glorious little sponge, this damp. This needs to be a damp sponge. And I'm going to put this highlighter on. And it takes a fair bit. You have to make sure that you get it into all the impressions that you've created, whether it's on a key fob or this piece of embossed belt that I have. And you can wipe it right on there. And any of the little places that you might have gone a little bit too crazy with that really dark brown dye on the border, this is kind of going to make it all better. It won't totally cure it, but it goes back to that principle that I mentioned earlier. That principle is that leather work does not have to be perfect. All it has to be is good enough. There's a lot of leather crafters out there that never understand that. And it is a truism. Nobody can do perfect leather work.
Look at those eagles.
Yeah, that
Let
looks
them
pretty
stand
good.
out. And how much time did we let it dry? Hardly any. Now, that sort of thing comes with experience. You know what you can get away with. If you're doing leather work for money, you're going to accumulate that experience. Maybe you'll accumulate it the hard way. But this is simple. Now, when Becky and I used to make belts in our garage for the tourist industry, I was coming home after work and having supper and being with the kids for a while. And after the kids went to bed, I'd go down and work in the garage for several hours, often until 12 o'clock or maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. And between Becky and I, we were making 150 to 300 belts a week for the tourist industry in Branson, Missouri. Now, this belt right here was our best selling belt. It's still, you can buy that belt from me today here at Springfield Leather. You can buy this embossed belt. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you want to do leather work for money, find something that you can do and keep it as simple as you can and make it look good. These are the products that helped us to do that. Very simple. Highlighter. It's already off my hands mostly, pretty much. Highlighter, a little bit of leather finish, a little bit of dye, and then some water, and making something look good enough to sell. That works. Now, there's another way we could have gone about this, and I'd like to show you. Let's see, how about a basket weave, Denny? Is there one of those over there?
Yes, there
Oh,
just happens
glorious.
to be.
Okay, here we've got,
Let's scooch this up real fast because
oh, sure.
there we
Oh,
go.
sorry.
It should be in the frame now. That's good. That's good.
We're going to take my dye, dauber, all this super, super dark brown stuff, and I want to make that edge just almost black.
So
Again,
all the belt strips that we're using, they are embossed
yeah.
strips.
Hey, if you want to tool them, go ahead. You can make a lot of money tooling a Western floral belt, right, Denny?
Yes. Oh, you can get wealthy. Ask my wife.
Okay, dauber goes down there. By the way, you probably already know this, but when you set a dauber down that has dye or water in it, or a sponge down that has dye or water in it, I got news for you. It's going to come off on something. If you have a piece, maybe this would be a great time to demonstrate that, wouldn't it? Here's a little piece of leather. We'll just have that touching that dauber for a little while, maybe. Okay, now the option number 2. Do we have another color of dye out here?
I think we have. I've got a beige.
That'll work.
You want beige? Okay. And we also have a light brown.
I have, the reason I chose beige is because that is yucky.
Ooh, ooh.
You didn't think I was going to let you make it all the way through a video without interrupting you, did you?
Hello, Rusty.
We were hoping, but
Well, I didn't think I was going to get an opportunity. I mean, I even made some comments on Facebook, and nobody would even give me the time of day. But,
You just said Liz was helpful and
That's
said hi
because-
to people.
and I said, Kevin, the camera's above your head.
we're all enthralled.
So, but the actual reason that I got to come in here is because they want to know what you want from Panera, Liz.
Oh, cool. I will have the Mediterranean sandwich and a cup of potato soup if they have it today. Thank you.
What's the soup of the day?
What is
What's the soup du jour?
Right.
Why do we
Sandwich
subject our
with a
viewers to
soup,
this?
potato
Right on
soup.
target.
Yes.
All right. You guys want anything?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. Kevin?
Good. Your mother's calling.
I doubt it.
I'm
Thank you,
going to
Rusty.
use
Yep.
beige dye. The reason I'm using beige dye is because I've never used it before. Woo. Okay, soaked right in. Got some on my fingers. Oh, hey, that ain't bad.
What is
We had a
beige
question
dye?
about Aqualim 315. It's a water-based paint. The question is, can you use that with kids? I would monitor them while you use it.
The 315? It's
yeah.
an adhesive.
That's glue, yeah.
Right, it is an adhesive, but it's water-based. Since we're
Yes.
doing kid projects here, and we were going to glue, if we glued something together.
That's really a good question because it goes back to the heart of things here. This whole program is designed to give self-esteem to kids and make them successful and make them think that you're a hero. Anytime you work with glue, you want an adult to be helping or set it up so the kid cannot fail. So
We've got a hello from Turkey. It's
Wow.
Sabin, but there's a little curly thing at the bottom of the S, so I don't know if it's pronounced differently.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Well,
know either.
welcome.
I don't speak Turkish. And then Mary said, great choices, Liz. That's her favorites.
Okay. Now, just to make a point, when you soak dye onto your, if you use dye and you soak it onto a sponge, it's best, not mandatory, remember you can do anything you want, it's best to wipe off the excess first on a piece of paper or cardboard. If you don't do that, you're gonna find that it goes on too thick.
Heavy.
It just dyes the whole thing.
Yeah, and you know what? That's okay.
That's what you want.
You can do that if that's what you want, but I don't want that. So I did a little bit on the end just to show you what it would be like. Okay, then we're gonna take our highlighter, same highlighter as before,
So no finish, no nothing.
no finish, no
Okay.
nothing. We have
What
basket
did you put
weave.
down on the end of there?
Pardon?
Just really heavy dye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saturated it
Yeah.
down there.
Oh, we were just showing if we didn't daub it off.
Exactly.
Okay.
Basket weave patterns are kind of a pain in the rear because there's so many little impressions that you need to get the highlighter down into. So I'm going to leave it just like this so that you can see the 3 steps. I used one of these, didn't I?
I don't know. I feel like
just
you used
use
all
this.
of them at this point.
You know what?
We've got more.
That was them.
Yeah, I like kind of a lot of highlighter. I like, if you really want to get a contrast, cover this thing really well. And if you really want to get a contrast, let it dry. Yeah, it doesn't take long to dry, a few minutes. When it's dry, you can still take almost all the excess off. But because it's dry, the stuff that's down in the cracks and the tooled areas really sticks. And it gives you a wonderful look. Again, it's a product like Easy Glow that's kind of goof proof. That's why we have a product called goof proof, is because you can't screw it up. And that's a wonderful thing, especially if you're a kid. It's kind of helpful if you're an adult. Well, I think it is.
Agreed.
You'll need to probably clean your sponge. By the way, I hate my little water container here. This is not my choice. This is Tony's fault. He got this big old 5-gallon bucket tub here of water.
I asked you if it was okay
It was okay.
at the time, and now I've decided that I don't like it anymore.
So anyway, I prefer a gallon jug that's been cut in half. That's enough water. Now, you can sit there just for your own edification. You can use that water all night long and probably make 100 belts like this just by squeezing out your sponge, getting rid of the excess highlighter, because your sponge will accumulate a lot of excess highlighter like this. And boy, it comes out. When you squish it around in there, you get that stuff off, it gradually starts coloring your water. And that's okay. It actually will remain clean enough for you to do what you need to do for a long time. And happy days, it kind of cleans your hands at the same time. Can't beat that. So even though this sponge is dirty and cruddy on the front, you can still use it to wipe off the highlighter. That, that looks good.
Looks pretty, yes.
If you could see it close enough, which I don't think you're going to be able to, there's a couple of very tiny places where I didn't get the highlighter down in there. There's 3. I left them there on purpose.
Wink, wink.
And if you believe that, yeah. Anyway, but that does make the point. Oh, let's see. You know what? I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to take my finger and dip it in this highlighter. I'm going to smush it right there and right there and there. That's good. Now I'm going to rewipe. I'm done. You really can't see much difference, I don't think. This is the end of the belt that had way too much dye on it, but you really can't tell.
We had a question about what you were using, the highlighter, what it actually was. So, Phoebings, and that's just what it's called.
Well, yeah, it's just called highlighter. That's what it is.
Pretty straightforward.
Lighter.
The only thing about highlighter is make sure it's nice and thick. I have seen highlighter come in occasionally that apparently was not manufactured correctly. It's a little thin. It's not as friendly. Still works. Not as friendly.
Wipe the top off for a week.
Yeah.
Let it evaporate a little
That'll do.
bit. Good to go.
So you can see this out here. The thing about this particular style of, I guess, dyeing and finishing, if you wish, is it gives you a look that appeals to most people. Now stop and think about it. If you're doing leatherwork for money, you want a product that will appeal to most of your customer base. You cannot ask in the leather world for a better product than a belt. More people wear belts than anything else when it comes to leather. So you want a product that's going to look good and appeal to people.
It's a pretty belt.
It's a pretty belt. A man would wear it. Somebody else might not, but that's okay. It'll appeal to somebody. And down here at this end of the belt, you can see where.
Sorry, I switched sides on you.
Okay, yeah, you can see this just has the dye on the top. It hasn't been gone over with the leather glow, and it just doesn't have the same look. So there you go.
It just makes it look rich.
Exactly. Keep it simple, stupid. Now, Denny has well, before I get to Denny's little trick, I want to do, you can't really see it yet, but on that piece of leather that was sitting up against that dauber, it's starting to suck into the leather. Let's see, this one, I forgot my key fob. So I'm going to take my finger again. Ugh. That stuff's getting kind of thick. And I'm going to get it all over my little key fob. And there, nice.
That over the head camera works pretty well, Kevin.
It does.
I'm glad. I'm going to take my sponge that's relatively clean. Still. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and that's that M that we resisted.
Ah,
That is now.
look how fancy.
Beautiful.
Oh, gosh, that's a $5 key fob. That is really pretty. If you want to wipe more of the stuff off, wipe it off. If you want to leave less of it on there,
Would you wipe it off? Just put a little more water on there to wipe it off?
yeah, the more damper your sponge, the more it comes off. I'll see if I can get it all off of there. You'll never get it all off with highlighter. That's as much as you're going to get. Highlighter actually changes the color of the leather.
It stains it.
Easy Glow does not change the color of the leather very much at all. A little bit, but not too much. Okay. So now let's do Denny's trick, and then I think we're gonna call it kind of sort of good.
So Michael on Facebook, he said, it really makes it look like you took a lot of time on your belt when in all actuality it was pretty quick comparatively, especially when it's embossed and not tooled.
Thank you, Michael, because that is a good point. You know, this is something that a kid can do. he'll feel really good about this. This is something that I can do, and I can sell it, and I do sell it. I have two more things I want to show. Hopefully we're not going to run over on time here. Denny
Got plenty of time.
uses neat's foot oil. This happy little piece of sheep wool has been in use for the last 27 years. Denny's been using it, and it had neat's foot oil on it, and there it is. We have yuck.
It's real
Yuck,
conditioning.
it's good for you, Kevin.
Thank you, Denny.
Make sure those
Your
hands aren't
wife
dry.
will say, "Oh, your hands are so nice and soft."
Okay, we put a happy little coat of neat's foot oil on there. If you want, let it dry. If you don't want, don't. It works either way. So, and by the way, as long as we're talking about the things we've done to resist things, we've done two-tone colorings. When you are doing this two-tone coloring with the highlighter, feel free to experiment with some antiques. The Phoebing's antique gels work really good.
Yeah, we've been pretty excited about those. They just came
Yes.
out here in the last year or so.
Yep. So I don't know if there's enough highlighter left in here to do this. Well, maybe we'll see. Yeah.
I can pour some more in there if you'd like.
Well, yeah. Would you just give it a squirt? Because we have used. That might be enough. You really want to get it down in everywhere to make it look nice. And for me, when I was doing this to make money, I just wanted as many simple things to do that would appeal to enough people to where some of them would want to buy stuff. And it worked.
Well, and definitely once you get the hang of it, I mean, Kevin, you'd make 10 or 20 at a time, and you'd lay them all out on your table, and you just take your whole big sponge and just wipe everything on, and then wipe it all off, and
Well,
Call it a
yeah,
day.
sort of, kind of. I'm going to put it on there, not waiting. I'm taking it off.
that looks really pretty.
It is very pretty.
It's beautiful.
And it's done. I mean, how nice, how simple.
It's like
you
you let the leather age for 6 months.
It
just
looks
in
old.
2 seconds.
Yeah, and it looks old, but it looks, like Denny said, it looks rich, looks good. A little neat's foot oil. Man, there are so many things you can do to sell a leather product and keep it simple at the same time that it's amazing. Now, the way I always thought about that was I would rather sell more of something than just sell one. I wasn't very good at making one thing that would generate money. I mean, I could do that, but for instance, if I would tool a picture for some guy, and I was all fired up over the fact that he was going to take it to France and hang it over his fireplace, and maybe I'd get a couple $100 for it. But in the meantime, I could have just as easily been making 30 belts and getting good money for them and staying busy. This belt right here, by the way, if you walk into our store, you will be able to buy that belt for $25 to $30 finished. This isn't finished. It's obviously not edged on the back, or on the edges rather, but it will be when we sell them. So that's a good thing. Now there was one other thing I wanted to show you. And by the way, you should wait. You want to hand me the Master's Quick Shine?
I sure can.
You should wait before you spray it. But you know what? You don't have to. Personally, close your ears, Denny. I like saddle lac. But that's just because I grew up using saddle lac. And
Saddle lac is great stuff.
it works really good.
It is great stuff. It just, I like Master's Quick Shine because it's cheaper.
There you go. Okay. Last thing I wanted to show you.
We had a couple of questions. You brought up some pricing stuff, Kevin. I know we're going to do a kind of a second part of this, but that Eagle belt, you said you could sell it for what, about $25 in here?
25 to 30.
And that's the whole strip, or that's a completed belt?
That's a completed finished belt.
So some of the questions we've had is how do we price our goods that we're hand making like this?
You know, that's a hard question to answer, but it is answerable. First of all, you're the one that knows your customer base. And what you can do is, what I always did, was try to find a few people that were wearing something kind of nice and that I was sort of thinking about making. And I would ask them, but that's really a nice belt you're wearing, sir. Sorry, don't mean to interrupt you, but that's really a nice belt. Where'd you get that? Oh, I got it in San Antonio 5 years ago. What'd you have to give for that? Oh, man, I paid too much for it. I paid $100 for that belt. Well, if you ask enough people, you're going to find that there's enough people that paid anywhere from $20 to $100. So you have to decide where you need to be. And there's nobody that can tell you a formula of how to do that. It doesn't exist.
Guy, the first saddle maker that I worked for told me we were making strap goods like headstalls or belts or whatever, but he said the way he prices them, he makes, when he's doing a production run of them, he'll make 3 of them and he'll figure out what his material cost is, what his time cost is. Then you can decide how much you want to make per hour.
Yes.
And divide that by 3, and that's what he charged for his product.
So it's very personal. It's what you value
It
your
is very
time at.
personal. When we made products, no matter what they were, whether they were wallets or belts is a pretty good example. We never made 3. You can't, or at least I couldn't in my situation. Now your guy was different.
Well, yeah, but he was using that as a base for his.
I got it.
If he was making a run of 50 of them, he would make 3 to decide what he was going to charge for.
Yeah.
We always made 10. We made 10 to decide how we were going to figure. Then we could figure out the leather cost and the time it took to do it and everything else. So this.
We also had a guy that's watching from San Antonio.
Oh.
Where
Hope I didn't insult anybody. Okay, I'm going to get this wallet back wet. And when I was teaching the kids in the classroom, we always did this, and it went over pretty darn good. So once it's wet enough, I really wish this was Herman Oak, and it's not.
It is not.
But it's going to work. All leather works. Oh, this is a bad, hefty handle. Hand me the handle in that alphabet set, would you, please? It's not bad, it's an old one. This stamp is older than the hills. Lovely.
That came out pretty good.
Yep.
We got a happy little cabin.
See if it fits this one. Oh, it does. That's glorious.
Joshua said when he was using saddle lack that he had issues with it pulling the Siebing's dye out of it, even if it's dried for a few days.
Any wipe-on finish that you use like that is going to make your dye or your antique paste or whatever it is you're using. It will make it wash some.
Yeah, don't wipe on.
Yeah, your final top coat. That's one reason I love that Master Quick Shine, because it's just a spray on. You don't have to touch it.
Okay, we'll come back to that, but I want you to watch step by step what we've done. Stamped a cabin, stamped a tree. Stamped some happy little fence posts. And I have some lovely little trees. You can time me if you want.
We've been going for about 55 minutes.
Liar.
Oh, not total time.
Right. Okay.
Kevin,
Swivel
it's like
knife.
you've done this a few times.
If you use a swivel knife, sharpen the dumb blade. Jeweler's rouge, scrap piece of leather, rub it on the leather, polish your blade,
wipe it off.
And that'll last a long time. This is a really strange swivel knife. Look at this. It falls apart. It shows you how much I care. All right, hopefully you can see this. We're making mountains. And boy, do you got to be careful making those mountains. See how careful I was? Watch this fence.
Because they're all perfectly shaped.
Yeah, I know. Watch the fence. My fence is perfect too. Oh, I've got a broken wire. Maybe I'll put barbs on it. I ain't gonna do that. Then I'm gonna take grass and I'm going to smack it. I'm gonna tip it and smack the corner right by every fence post. Then very carefully, I'm gonna stamp this all around the bottom of this area here, and then I'm gonna take another grass tool here, and it's just a little bigger. That's nice enough.
Yeah, we were on the overhead camera. You should have seen how careful he was doing it. He was looking at the forward camera.
Okay, so here's can you see this? Do I need to hold it a certain way? Is that, can you see it?
Yep. Yeah,
I can't see it.
Let me switch to that one.
Looks
There you
terrible.
go. Well, switch. There you go.
There you go.
So can I turn it around?
There you go.
Perfect. Look at that. You figured it out.
Well, it's not exactly perfect. But again, you probably noticed I wet the whole wallet back because otherwise you get a watermark. Stamp that on there, and in reality, I can stamp this pattern on here in about a minute, maybe a minute and a half at the most if I'm taking my time. I wanted to show you that because I'm going to take this wallet. I'm going to sell this wallet for 25 to 30 bucks. The one that I just did right here, right now on this piece of rock today, December
10th, 11th,
12th, 13th,
11th.
Whatever day it is.
December 11th.
We're all here.
But I'm going to do it the same way that I showed you these, except one difference. I'm going to airbrush the edges and I'm going to put highlighter over it. And here's the picture. Can you get a shot of this?
I can. Sorry.
Down. There it is.
If I had
That's the same
$1
one.
for every one of these I've made, I could probably buy Jamaica.
Oh, I bet you would enjoy that.
We made them for the tourist industry. We sell them here in our store. They've got that simple outer border that's darker, and the edges are easier to feather with an airbrush. Plus, it takes a lot less time and you use a lot less dye. So that's what that wallet back that I just stamped is going to become. Now, it's pretty hard to make money double loop stitching a wallet.
Unless you're Kevin and you just do it while you drive.
You don't have to double loop stitch it. You can sew it on a machine, do whatever you want to do. I just happen to like the lace. So, get a picture of this wallet, would you? Again.
Yep.
There's the deer. Notice the similarity. There's a bass. Same stamp. The cabin, the trees, just a little bit of a few cuts with a swivel knife to make the lake.
A little water texture.
Yeah. Some bigger weeds, cattails. Same thing. Instead of deer, you've got horses. Cabin, trees, fence, all the same. It's simple. And believe it or not, this is something that not only you can do, but a kid can do this as well with just a little bit of help. You know, I knew a young boy who put a shark skin wallet together. He was 8 years old. His mom used to drop him off at my store in Fargo, North Dakota every I think it was Monday night, because she wanted to leave him and have me babysit him while her and her daughter went out shopping. This kid couldn't tool leather, couldn't even stamp leather very good. He was only 8, but he could lace. He saw a piece of shark skin, talked his mom into buying him a piece of shark, and he got a wallet kit, and he made this wallet out of shark skin. The doggone thing looked pretty good. He took it home and sold it to his dad for $25. Yeah, well, that wasn't the end of it. His dad went out to lunch with a workmate and went to pay for lunch and took his wallet out. The guy said, "Wow, that's really a nice wallet. Where'd you get that?" He said, "Well, my son made that for me." "He did? Oh, wait a minute. He's only 8. "Yeah, well, he made it. It's shark skin. It's really cool. It's really tough." The guy said, "Well, you think he would make me one?" He said, "Yeah, he probably would. They cost $35. He made a few bucks on the side." I got a picture and a letter in the mail, probably, maybe, I want to say it was 8 or 9 years after I moved here to Springfield, Missouri, and it had a picture of this young boy. He was grown up, standing beside an automobile. And he said, "Kevin, I just wanted you to see a picture of the first car that I bought with my leather money." So all things being said and done, you can be a hero to a kid if you want to be. And a kid he'll think you're a hero, even if you don't know what you're doing. If you just know a few simple little things, and he'll have all the self-esteem in the world that you could possibly give him, and you can't get much better than that. I'm good.
We got a few questions to wrap up. What's the difference between highlighter and antique?
Highlighter, none really, except that antiques are a stronger form of highlighter, basically. They've got more dye pigment in them. You can actually change the pigment of highlighter if you wish, but you're starting to get into stuff there that you should consider experimentation because it changes things.
Can you use Sadillac over Angelus paint?
Yes, you can, as if you spray it. You have to spray it. Typically, lacquer over paint is not a happy deal, but I did that for years and it works.
Silver marking pens, we'll have to get them a number 4. But the wildlife stamps that you use, you can buy them in a pack. $39.99 if you are wholesale or retail, and in wholesale is $30. And the number is 144-816-001. That comes with a large post, which is F115, a small post, a leaping bass, pine trees, and then the grass stamp that you use.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to sell tools here.
People were asking where they were at, so I was just trying to give some numbers so they can go out and be a hero.
Yeah, they're in our catalog, and the single stamps are not very much money.
Yeah, and we've got the set. We'll put a link to it in the description.
Most of our viewers are wholesale, are they not?
This month they are.
This month they are.
And these tools are what, like $5 or $5.99 for
Yep.
$5.89.
Okay, for a stamp. So I used, to make that wallet, I used 4. And then these 3D stamps are
$3.99.
$3 or $4. You would need a cabin, a bass, a deer, a horse, and a couple others.
But they're all kind of in a section together.
They are.
Yeah.
A guy made up a good point, and I know we have meetings here on Mondays, Kevin. You've talked about it before, where you couldn't sell something in the store. You couldn't move it. You set it outside and get it in front of them, and you put a higher price on it, and you sold it.
That's a good point, because we just did that the other day. We had it outside on the carts that are in front of our store. We have a bunch of merchandise that we offer as specials to our customers, and we had a product out there that we couldn't sell outside. We just couldn't sell it. We had it priced low. So they brought it inside and doubled the price, and people pick it up like crazy. So what can you do?
Who knows?
Yeah, it goes back to the pricing thing. It's very, very challenging. But, if you got to do something.
Even if it's wrong.
Yeah, you have 2 choices in life. You either do something or you do nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is smart. Most of the time, there's a better option. So don't be afraid to try.
Tony, do we want to give these away?
We do.
Okay, guys.
You want to show them off? Put them on that granite, and we'll do that overhead shot.
So these are the coasters that the guys here in our marketing team finished up Monday after our video, Friday after our video, whatever day that was.
I want my tea.
Do you want your tea? So anyway, so we've got a python skin, we've got a pararucoo, we've got a caiman, and then we've got a wildebeest inlaid exotic coaster set here that we are going to give away. So who wants to draw a name out of this hat, which Abigail made nice and big this week.
Have Denny pick one.
Here you go, Denny.
So we had a question on a silver marking pen. The number on the silver marking pen, which you can get a 6-pack for $1.99, 72-169. 72-169 for the silver marking pen.
Hey, here's a tip for you. Windex will take off silver marking pen.
Off of what kind
Really?
of leather?
Windex. I did not know that. We got in a whole batch of leather from the Coach handbag manufacturing company. Got in some pink and some chalk and some blue and some terracotta and maybe a green. Man, the leather's beautiful. Coach is picky. They're like picky. And they have their agent go over the hides and they put a little silver pen mark on every little imperfection that you could possibly imagine. We bought them all cheap. Oh, they were cheap because they're all full of silver marks.
You probably wouldn't spray Windex on veg tan leather, though.
I don't think it'd work very well, but if you...
I would, after you were finished with your project.
It
you
probably worked.
try it.
Just like Mop and Glow.
Try it.
But
All
yeah, so for finished leathers, Windex can take off that silver marking pen.
What do you got there, Denny?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Francisco Mozeno.
Maybe from Instagram.
Francisco Mazzano.
Francisco
close.
Mazzano.
Okay.
I thought that's what you said.
So we will reach out to you about these.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes.
We brought up the water stain just a little bit, and they were talking in the chat room about the black water stain. I don't know if you could hold that up, and that's just
Holy buckets.
that. We did that on another video, and that's Herman Oak. That's Herman Oak dyed black. Let me switch to
Man,
With the Fenici?
with the Fenici water stain.
Whew.
it's hard to see. It's so black.
Well, I told Tony yesterday when he showed it to me, I wasn't a real big fan of black, but that looks pretty darn good for black.
That looks...
That looks great.
Yeah, look at that.
And then I took some Angelus white paint with that one and tried to do something backwards. It looks a little weird, but
It does look a little weird, but it ain't bad. Huh. Angela's white paint?
yeah.
Well, you
gonna
just
rub it in
rubbed
there?
it on and
I
rubbed it
just
off?
rubbed it on. I added some water to it to thin it out just a little bit. But I think I'm gonna hit
Wax off.
with some
That's called
saddle soap and see if I can dole
It
it out
actually
just a little
looks
bit.
pretty good.
It's
Yeah.
called white antique.
Yeah. No, I like it.
So when I tell you can do anything you want, you can.
We mean it.
Really. Yeah. So anyway, unless there are questions, I'm good to go.
Let's see. Thank you for the video. Congratulations to the winner. I don't see any other questions, and that black is very black. They say they love it.
Well, good. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
guys.
See you